think we are live. All right, welcome to episode uno of number one of Football in the Kitchen Sink. I think that's what we start out with as our name here. Coach Schuman and Coach D here. Coach Depascale, for those of you who like to pronounce his full long last name. Which I spelled wrong for probably the first 10 years of having you work calves and stuff. I spelled it with a Q, I think.
You're not the first one. You sure as heck won't be the last one. I guess it's on me for not correcting you. I probably didn't even realize it, or probably didn't even really notice it, to be honest. But it's yeah, it is what it is. But this is good. This is cool. I think this is something we can build on, and we can talk it out. I mean, everything from whatever, football and God knows what else we'll get into. But especially with the world we're living in right now, I'm sure there'll be other topics that are going to come up that we can bring to the forefront or discuss, or at least, give our opinions on. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
So add some light to the situations.
Yeah, we're basically taking our format of talking on the phone right
and
to
broadcasting it.
Right, broadcasting it. So I guess we could start. I mean, a local thing. The New Jersey NJ.com football rankings, and then obviously we coach over in Red Bank, so this year we were not the conversation. Maybe one day we will be.
Hopefully.
But it's controversial in New Jersey because the number one team is Wall High School, which is down in our conference, Shore Conference. Went undefeated, defeated Donovan Catholic in our what we have pods and stuff like that this year because there's no playoffs. So that was kind of the Shore Conference championship pod. And the controversy is, they're number one. And number two was Holy Spirit, which is down in South Jersey towards Atlantic City, who won
private school.
Right, private school, who won that West Jersey pod. And then, which was, I think, the two – who did they beat? I forgot who they beat in their West Jersey pod. But they defeated the other top team, I think, in the way they grouped it the same way that we did in the Shore. Did the same kind of thing.
And they're group two, I believe, correct?
I think they're group two, yeah. So, because traditionally they would play – like St. Joe's Hamilton, I think, was their team that they normally would battle out in their championship section. And then you got –
They are, let's see, non-public group two, correct. And they just, let's see, they didn't play many games at all, Coach. They were, Holy Cross. Oh, man. I think they only had, West Jersey Football League, though. So we've seen a lot. We've come across a lot of with the year that it has been, we've definitely seen a lot of teams travel. That's for sure. And I think us obviously being from North Jersey and coming down here and hearing about the Shore Conference itself, to have in only our second year have a Shore Conference team ranked as the number one team in the state, kind of adds some kudos to just where we're coaching and the type of football that we're coaching. However, you're always going to have your North Jersey, South Jersey controversy. And this year is, just follows suit along with that as far as that's concerned. So, I'm sure a bunch of teams up north from that big north are going to be a little upset because, they do play each other and basically beat the hell out of each other the entire year. Right. Literally. I mean,
and those are the 3 and 4, right? So 3 was Del Barton,
which is not usually in there either.
Right. They were undefeated. And then 4 was
Bergen
Catholic, right? So who beat St. Peter's Prep. Del Barton was supposed to play Bergen Catholic. Didn't end up playing them because of that was the on the field COVID-19
That was the we just warmed up for pregame and coach is about to give us our run through the wall speech and instead we're packing up and going home.
Yep. Yep. So that I thought was
yeah. I thought that was the most bizarre thing we were going to see until I read that Ocean City was playing this weekend and they went in for halftime, and that was the end of that game.
Right.
So,
and they were playing one of the other powerhouses in South Jersey,
Williamstown.
I think it's Williamstown. Yeah,
Williamstown, something I think along that.
Yep.
Along those lines. Look, I thought, us, go in our situation where we went basically a week and a half without practice and then dialed it up on a Saturday after a walkthrough was going to be one of those moments. But, 2020 has only showed us that, damn. Warming up for a game, being there, not playing it, and then to have another team play a half and then not finish the game. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just there's a lot of stuff that went on this year, but you might as well just throw this other wrinkle into it with a public school team going down as the number one team at the end of the year, because why not? Everything else during this year has been controversial or something unprecedented. And I'm not saying this isn't unprecedented, because I believe the last time it was done was 2015 when another Shore Conference team in Middletown South finished the year as the number one. But we've discussed it time and time again. At the end of the day, these are just rankings, right? It's a matter of, it's a record. It's basically the newspaper guys, the media guys that put together this top 25, and they have their criteria. So it's a pseudo, it's basically a bragging right type of thing. Hey, we're going to win a team in the state. We look at it too. Like we said, there's teams that aren't even in the top 25 that win state championships, or actually go home with titles in years where you have years that have titles. This year doesn't have that. So I guess it just, there's more hanging on the number one top 25 ranking. But man, I'll tell you, there was some active people on Twitter this weekend, whether it be anybody from the North that was, talking about who's playing who and who beat who. And if you were to play us, you'd lose by whatever. And look,
So what do you like? I love that you brought it up. You like how you bring things up just like on the slide. But I thought it was interesting when I could read the NJ.com article before it went behind the subscription paywall, which is as frustrating as it gets. I read it before, and I guess must have been a time clock.
Only 5 free articles, Coach.
Yeah. So what I remember from my memory was they had like a rationale there, and actually I read all the different teams that were in the rankings, but the one thing I thought, so I think Bergen Catholic wanted to be number one, but obviously they ended up 4. Del Barton definitely had an argument, like we talked about. They ended up 3. Holy Spirit ended up 2, and now I don't know that much about Holy Spirit, so
me neither. Probably the team I know the least about, just as far as just where they are. Look, I know for some way, shape, or form, I've heard their names before, whether it be late 90s, early 2000s. For some reason, I always remember them kind of playing Del Barton, maybe in a some way type of thing. Or something of that nature. But once it just kind of follows suit that even your number 2 team is a private school, whether it be not one of those, when we think of the private schools, you obviously, you think of the Big North, you think of your Boscos, you think of your Bergens, you think of your Joes. Paramus Catholic was in there for a little while. You think of your DePaul, you're thinking about all these teams that are, in that Big North Conference that, like we said, just bash each other's heads in week to week. And then you've got, Group 3 Wall from Shore Conference.
I'll fire up a couple of things that have come through on my chat. Can you see the chat that I have too, or no?
Can I see it? I don't think so. Okay. No. Yeah. Can I see it? Yeah,
first of all,
Guy. Oh, hello, Coach Bertola. How can I? In the house.
Before we get to Coach Bertola, which I'm definitely going to get to because he's great. He should be like.
He's going to be on. He should be. Yeah, absolutely.
He should be a guest. There's no doubt about it. But before we get go to that.
Oh yeah, we can't even touch that.
Who gave us a quick shout out over there? That's me. Okay. Oh, here we go. Coach Davis.
Coach Davis, man, that's a hell of a career, brother.
Yeah.
Coach Davis, Barnegat High School, the only head coach in program history, takes a step down after this year. Look, man, no, listen. If I didn't know what else to do, I'd probably step down after this year too, with everything that went on. So, but Coach Davis, great career. Always was extremely receptive when we came down here. Has always been just a guy who has basically opened his doors, and anything I ever needed, we ever needed, has reached out to us. He's been definitely a liaison as far as signing off on these two North Jersey guys coming down to the shore, but. Coach calling it a career after, or at least, career with Barnegat High School. Leaves that program obviously in a better state than it was since when he started. I believe it was 18 years ago, but I think it was 2000, maybe 2004, 2006. I think the high school opened. I don't know. Somebody's gonna have to fact check me.
He's the coach there, so I mean, what he's done there.
He's been the only head coach, absolutely.
Yeah. Although I think it's pretty cool. He started a program from scratch. I think that's really cool, and
that's phenomenal.
Built it up in his image. So anyone who takes over, I'm assuming maybe one of his assistants, but whoever takes over that program going forward, he built it in his image, and so you're kind of building that legacy, which is cool, which is really cool. So I mean, congrats to him, and I'm sure we'll see him again sometime in the future somewhere.
I'm sure. Listen, for a guy like that to just, he'll pop up. He's got to pop up somewhere. And if anybody needs somebody on their staff or whatever, even a behind the scenes guy to just show up on game day, that's the guy. That's for sure. Somebody give him a call. So
GB had a great post. Two things he posted, right? So he coaches at Coach Bertola coaches at over at DePaul. And he made light of it, but he's like, number one TV in public school is horse blank, and the strength of schedule of Max Preps. Well, I think Ball was ranked 11. Big, obviously, now we're from North Jersey. People who haven't coached in both areas may not know the different things. So I'll give you kind of my impressions of. And we played Hackensack, although it wasn't two powerhouses this year, but
Hackensack, man, I don't care what anybody wants to say. Still,
we had a ton of talent out there, and in a different situation where all of us had regular time, I think we would have had a fantastic season over at Red Bank. Not
for our liking though.
Yeah, exactly. And our guys did a great job, and Hackensack played a really tough schedule, public. But But being from North Jersey, obviously that single conference in North Jersey is the best conference in New Jersey, which is the ones with the parochials. And here's my interesting take on it too. So the parochials obviously have dominated. I don't know. I think the only other time that they were number one was 2015, maybe. And I'm talking about recent years when Middletown South was number one. I think that was pretty controversial at the time.
I'm sure it was.
Mid-South and is obviously always a powerhouse public school program.
Right.
Wall is a phenomenal team, and I thought beating Donovan, who I thought was phenomenal for down here, was really good. So I'll give you my input. First of all, I think Wall deserved to get number one in this year from the situation of what went down. Normally, they probably, if they went all the way through, and let's say they ran the table and won the Group 3 state championship, okay, and they beat us in the finals now, or we got to the finals and beat that. No, so if Wall got all the way to the championship, let's use hypothetical, and use the hypothetical, and they got all the way to the championship this year, and won it, and the parochials got to the championship and won it, they would have probably never had a chance to be number one, because the parochials, the big school parochial, unless somehow it was, which what didn't work out that way this year. Like DePaul maybe went undefeated. That would, and they didn't end up, let's say they played in their Group 3 version, and they could have won the championship without playing one of the big parochials. But in normal years, the big parochials have been number 1 off of that, so that Wall wouldn't have had a chance in this case. In most cases, almost no public school would have had a chance in a normal situation, because the parochial Group 4, I believe it is, would have went through their playoff. One, that would have been the de facto best team, as it's been every single year, other than if there's something crazy where, like, I don't know, let's see if a team that didn't have that good a record made a run and won it all, okay? Right. And 2000, I don't know what 2015 was like, but maybe that was something similar. And I know Mid-South went undefeated when they got it. This year, with the COVID-19 restriction rules and everything like that, travel and all those kind of things made some things difficult. I know our own situation. Cool. Things were difficult. We were shut down 3 times, and it was tough to be able to just operate the season at times. And I think, like, our kids did a fantastic job, and most of the kids around the state did a fantastic job of doing everything. So I thought in this year, with Wall having a kind of, what they call the unofficial short conference championship, which I think is a great idea going forward, because I like to one day beat myself. I like the idea of it.
I do like that.
And the whole real idea comes from the NJIC up north, how they do that. I think this year Beckton, shout out
Group
to my
one, baby. Group 1 ball.
I think Beckton won that one there, and I think that's pretty cool. So,
and that's like that's like your Hasbrook Heights of the world, right? Your Pompton Lakeses, your Woodridge, right? Those small Group 1 Bergen County teams that what do? They play like 6 games, and then they reseed, and then they play it, the last 2 games of the year for basically your conference title. Which is awesome. I'm looking at some of these guys commenting in our chat and whatnot. And it's not because you got my boy Spencer Fox coaches at Joe's. He played for me at Bosco. So you got a Joe's guy in here and a DePaul guy in here already going at it. You know what I mean? Guy, go figure. Look, I know you're eating, look at Guy is already at the Guy. I saw you're speaking of Cedar Grove, throwing Cedar Grove in there. I saw a coach who's been at St. Peter's stepped away finally after 5 years, I think. What's his why am I forgetting his name, Dave? Sadlock. Yes. So at 5 years at Prep, I guess Coach Hansen decided to hang it up, and I guess Coach Sadlock decided to hang it up too. But another one of those Jersey guys that's never going to go away from the game. Hopefully he's around. Did you side note, by the way, did you see the picture posted on Twitter of the godfathers of North Jersey football?
Oh, yeah, I saw it. Yeah, of course.
How is that like? How many wins between that picture alone? So
how does 3 of them get to be coaching at Bergen Catholic?
Talk about staff.
Right,
so to reference it, so those of you guys that didn't see it, the picture was of it was taken, and it was of Greg Toll, obviously lifelong guy. Bosco built it, made it. Big time head coach. Coach Tony Karsich from St. Joseph Montvale built that program and stepped away a few years ago.
And then it was, if you didn't know that.
I didn't know that. That's why it was like craziness when I saw it. Coach Hansen, obviously, Rich Hansen, the head coach at St. Peter's Prep for the past God knows how many years. And then what's his friggin' I'm losing it. Bergen Catholic. What's his name?
Stengel? Fred Stengel?
Stengel. Coach Stengel at Bergen Catholic.
You know that I'm older than you.
What do you mean? Yeah, okay. Well, listen, like I said, obviously I'm biased because I was fortunate enough to coach with Coach Toll at Bosco for a year, and that's my claim to fame as far as my experience in the Big North itself, and then with Coach Toll. But to see those 4 guys, 3 of them wearing red, coaching at Bergen, Coach Vito up there, man. I mean, if that's not a staff, I don't, wow. But to see those 4 guys, all now non-head coaches, so you can really see this pendulum start to swing. And, I'm getting sidetracked here, but we're talking about, those Big North coaches that everybody thinks about. There's all new guys in charge now, man.
Well, that's also interesting, but
I think the longest tenured.
So I gave you my final circling back, because I think we talked about this earlier. Circling back, I'll put it like this: if there was a game between Wall and in fairness, I don't know exactly what Holy Spirit has, so I don't know enough about it. But let's say Wall and Del Barton, or Wall and Burton Catholic. Anything can happen in any game, but I think it would be very difficult to win, just because obviously the parochials are getting kids from everywhere. Wall's literally playing with, I'm assuming they are, with all Wall kids, and so that's a totally different situation. So I would say like 9 out of 10 times probably the parochial's going to win that. If there was a head-to-head battle, anything can happen in one single game. Everybody understands that. But I do like the fact in our state, where definitely the parochial schools dominate, that in a unique year like this, that Wall came out number one. To me, it wasn't really about like who might in this ranking. I'm guessing how they're ranking, and why I kind of like it is that it wasn't so much about the team that if they played each other, because like you said, Max Preps has Burton Catholic, I think it's number one, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
But
it's not so much a head-to-head battle. It's more.
And Wall was able to accomplish, even beating Donovan, right? Who is a parochial and who has done a great job of getting a lot of good players in. I mean, they have some. And
they ended up last year. If you want to reference that, Donovan last year probably had their best year in school history and ended up losing to DePaul in the playoffs, who would eventually go on to beat Mater Dei in the finals for that Group 3 parochial. So now you see Wall taking, this year, Wall goes and beats Donovan in that pseudo championship game. So no, can you measure it that way? Do you match it up that way? But like you said, I think look. So my take on the whole thing is that, look, you got a public school who's at the ranking, they're number one. And like I said, this is why I reference this is rankings are rankings for a reason. There's not a look, it's not a matter of,
it's just an opinion, and it's
right. There's a criteria set. This is what, did they check all these boxes? Yup. Number one. Okay, good. Now is anybody who ranked Wall number one saying that if Wall went out and played Bergen 9 out of 10 times, who's going to win the game? Or is it any of that stuff? And like I referenced to you this morning, a few years ago, when you had University of Central Florida undefeated saying we're the national champions, and then you have Alabama, who actually was the national champions. It's two different worlds. You know what I'm saying? So
great.
And like I said, at the end of the day, it's a ranking, it's a number. It is what it is. During this year, absolutely, where there's no championships, there's no nothing, there's no that. That single number one ranking is going to, in my eyes, bring home a little bit more weight than it would in another year where you could go and Wall could win the Group 3 state championship. Now they actually have hardware. This is their hardware for that year.
Absolutely. I think it was kind of a cool thing, and most years it's not even basically an option. You know what I'm saying? Like, just
look, and anybody.
But I think the Shore Conference should do a tournament, because you know what? If we do a tournament like that, we play. What would it be? 6 games. What does the NJIC do? 6 games.
Well, no. What is it?
And then they match up.
Oh, yes. They do 6, and then they match up to
records,
like 4, and then they play like a 1.
Everybody else records for the last.
Everybody else plays for that. Spots, right. But it never cuts into your actual playoff season during a regular year.
I think that's if we're able to do that down the shore, that'd be awesome.
I think listen, the way they set things up this year, where we had that pseudo Shore championship game, like I think that's phenomenal. I think that's awesome. I think that's a very cool way to go about it. I think it, in what I've experienced is in the last 2 years with this conference, they kind of like to do their own thing and not really worry about anybody else. It's more short conference based. Yep. So that's something that you want to do going forward. I think having a short conference champion is.
I mean, I think it was if that game was.
Oh, if you were allowed to have people there, there would have been. I couldn't even imagine.
There definitely would be, and so it's definitely would have been 10,000. I mean, I think the NJIC who started that idea. And we talked about it when I was still up with the Super Conference when I was at Indian Hills. They talked about that idea, but it's such a big conference that it's
huge. You would have to break that up into this and that, and then
exactly.
Look, if you wanted to make it work,
do it. The short,
if you wanted to make it work, you definitely could.
It's big conferences, but it's it's what are we talking, 40 teams? So. You got 43 or 44. I don't remember what.
The Shore?
Shore is like 40-something teams.
Yeah, I think it's 43 football playing schools in the Shore.
Yeah, so I think that would be really cool if they went forward. And then it doesn't affect the playoffs because you play 6 and you play your +2. Then everybody's ranked for the playoffs, and then you're good to go, man. And you go and play the playoffs, and so it's pretty cool because you could play a conference championship and still have a chance to win a state championship, even if you don't win a conference championship. So
absolutely, I think that's the best part. The best part to it.
Absolutely. So
is that you're still going to get, hey, it's just like saying, hey, I didn't win my conference, but I won my, I went out and won a state championship. I'm not even a conference champ, but I won something. You know what I mean? Like an opportunity to take home more hardware, which I think is cool. And look, kudos to whoever handled scheduling and all that stuff, or even just setting up any of this stuff for that year, because I mean those guys deserve more than just a pay raise.
Great job. Well, all the games you lost over and over again. I mean, on that. So
I think for all of us, whether you're a coach, whether you're administrator, whether you're freaking, what I mean, like any role that you played in this season, everybody deserves a pat on the back for the ability to just kind of roll with the punches. And some of us that are so creatures of habit and, need to prepare for this team for whatever. I mean, look, man, we rolled it out and dialed it up with no practice for a week and a half, or, who was playing, supposed to be playing one team on Monday, game gets changed to somebody else on Wednesday. And then before you know it, you're playing a third team on Friday night. So just that whole thing and the ability for, coaches to kind of,
that part was kind of fun. Like,
kind of just wing,
winged it.
I don't know if winging it's the way you want to put it.
I don't ever want to have to do that again if I don't have to, but definitely that part made it interesting. I missed having my whole summer and being able to do what we normally do. That way we could prepare the right way. But it was great to have the kids have a season. That was the most important thing.
I think that's the biggest thing is that you saw
still got to get kids get recruited from it, and that's a big thing. Right, because we just know with our guys, right? If we didn't have a season, like Owen Laughlin may not be going to Richmond. And other guys may not have gotten the opportunities that they're about to have. So, and that goes for everybody. So it's one of those things where I'm glad everybody got to play,
got something, and like we said, we were just hoping for it, right? Like, when our schedule came out and they realigned and they did whatever, we were just praying to get to 6 games. We were hoping for 6, and we got just that 6. Whether they came,
GB posted that at one time he had three game plans in his. That's great.
Isn't that the truth though? Because look, if you can, I said this to a lot of people before the season said, and it reigns true. And it's, it references to some of our coaches on our staff who were first year. We had 3 first-time coaches, assistant coaches with us this year. And for them to go through this year and experience this world like it was, I think that they should be able to coach God knows when, because I don't think anything will ever touch this year.
It'll only get easier. There's no doubt.
But like I said, the credit goes to the kids. Those guys. look, it's easy for us to handle things and whatever. But I mean, these kids they're dealing with, am I going to school? Am I not going to school? I'm not, it's not the same thing. And people don't realize they haven't been just dealing with this, since September or August or, I mean, they've been dealing with this since last March. You know what I mean? So you got kids that, our seniors have now missed, they missed an entire half year of school pretty much. And now, it's almost a year of school that they've been out, whether you're in school or you're virtual or you're seeing them sometimes and whatnot. I mean, just think about the routines and the traditions and the functioning of and the logistics that go into a program week to week to week. I'm sure Coach Davis can attest to this, I'm sure, his JVs play on Monday. He watches film with his varsity on Monday, Tuesday, they may watch film or do whatever on Tuesdays, and then Wednesdays, and then your pasta dinners on your Thursdays. And now you're looking at this world and nobody's got a locker room. How do we meet and do this? How do we do this with our kids? I mean, just the whole, everything. Now, coaching in a mask.
Zoom meetings, coaching in a mask.
Oh, my God. I mean, and like you said, I'm happy that the kids got 6 games. I'm happy that our guys, got tape to move forward. But, I mean, that's something that I know we're going to address going forward is just, the entire recruiting world now. I mean, you're looking at colleges that – kids can, we see whatever on Saturdays on TV, but we're talking Division II, Division III, FCS schools, all these, the NJAC, Division III, like they're playing 4 games in the spring, and then those kids don't lose a year of eligibility. So how do I recruit if I don't know who's coming back or who is coming back? Parents, look, as well as I do, recruiting is an interesting beast that most parents are either misinformed, uninformed, or just not informed at all in general.
Now
you throw all of that into it, and now you're talking. Now you got a whole nother level of I don't know what the hell's going on. What do I do?
It's been my hardest year in recruiting because with helping the kids because of the fact that there's less scholarships available. I've had numerous coaches tell me that, they basically have to reserve some spots for some states that may play in the spring, right? And then you have junior college kids that might be more valuable, kids that are coming back who don't lose eligibility in college because they're getting another year granted. So it's costing them all these scholarships that normally would be available. And so they really have to figure out what's the best situation. This would be the year more than ever, I would say, if you're a football player and you don't get a scholarship offer, choose a place that you want to be for 4 years because
that's all that's going to matter, man. Without football, we always tell our guys like the first thing you got to do when you got to love the school itself. Like, don't go play for a team, don't go play just because they're whatever. Don't go play for a coach. Go play because you want to be at that school. And like you said, I think this year is more than anything because, some of these guys got on campus and now without football, what are they doing?
I want to shift to our Broncos story that we talked about. What do you think?
Yeah. Listen.
Right. Could you see this on the screen or no? I don't know if you can.
Can I see this on the screen? Absolutely. Broncos, ugly QB situation. Here's why Denver couldn't sign a free agent QB and why the game didn't get postponed. So for everybody that doesn't know what's going on, the Denver Broncos this weekend had a quarterback test positive. And with that and all the, the contact tracing things that go along with it, they apparently in this quarterback room, so whoever this QB coach is needs some adjustment. But apparently each one of their quarterbacks was exposed to a level with the person that tested positive that would put other people at risk. Therefore, they were deemed ineligible to play this weekend. So I believe it was, Friday when this story broke? Thursday, Friday, maybe. Maybe it was even Saturday. But the story broke, and it came down to it that the Denver Broncos had no quarterbacks on the roster, literally. So no on the roster, but could not play due to COVID-19 restrictions. So you now have an NFL team. We're talking NFL team, billions of dollars, who the best quarterback available to play was their GM in John Elway.
If you suited up, that would have been as comical as it comes.
It would have looked like Mike Tyson fighting Roy Jones.
My question is, GB says the QB is selfish, no doubt. So they're
QBs, man.
So the guy they wouldn't sit in a room. But QBs aren't supposed to be selfish. I mean, isn't that the point of them being QBs? Aren't they the ones supposed to lead the team? When you played quarterback briefly for the time period that you resented it, yeah, you were selfish.
The only reason I liked doing it was because I got to call my own number when I wanted to. Oh, Coach, what are you talking about? That play was definitely – I thought you called it.
Yeah. Oh, you thought I called it right now. I'm running the ball.
I love it. But, yeah. Wait. What are we doing? But, look, yeah, to me that's just on an entire – look, we know football, and we talk about it all the time, is the ultimate team sport, right? So you got to get 11 guys on the same page. And a lot of the time, for the most part, if you're talking offensively, in order to be successful, you got 5 guys up front that have to do their job, who most times nobody even knows who they are. But without them, you can't do anything. And so now we're talking about guys in the NFL making millions of dollars a year who just don't want to wear a mask. You know, I mean, we talk about it all the time. It's not so much, look, if it's different. Like, if I don't care about it, I'm not concerned with getting sick. That's one thing.
Here's the biggest thing is like
everybody else.
Right. Your opinion of the whole situation, whatever your opinion is.
Correct. Your viewpoint on it.
Your viewpoint. And
whichever angle you want to take.
Right. Whatever you want to take. When you're working for somebody else, which is what they're doing, you have to follow the rules. That's your job. So if you don't like it, you got to go get another job.
Sorry, but if you don't like it, then go have
somebody and then
don't have somebody else pay you money to play quarterback.
Yeah, in the NFL's case, you're gonna have to appeal to Roger Goodell, and they're not changing.
And he's not exactly the guy that's gonna, look. But the fact that and we're talking about guys who are. ESPN radio this morning, they were talking, and two of the guys in that room, right, in Blake Bortles and in Luck, right, the other guy, or Locke, is it Luck or Locke? I believe I don't know, one of those two, something like that. But Locke is just trying to develop himself into becoming a quarterback in this league. And Blake Bortles is trying to establish himself so that he could finish his career as a backup and continue to cash these checks. So you're talking about two of these guys who are really kind of on that narrow window of, am I going to be successful in the NFL, or am I going to have to go find something else to do? And still, at the end of the day, they're like, I'm not wearing a mask.
Crazy. Like, first of all, aren't they going to get I'm assuming they're going to get fined. Massively.
Listen, the NFL just fined the Saints a couple of weeks ago for wearing masks in the locker room and celebrating. They fined them $500,000.
That's why I say, regardless, now. And
here's my other thing. We're talking about
if they want to protest it, they go give Roger Goodell a call, and then maybe they get the rule changed. You know what I mean? But otherwise, you have to follow the rule.
You're talking about an NFL position group room, right? Like, how does that get out? How does something get out of that room as far as like, hey, guys aren't wearing masks in that room?
Well,
I'm
sure. I don't know. I'm looking at that like maybe from a QB coach and administration standpoint. If you know the situation and you don't make people aware of it, you can be in a bind yourself. So I can kind of tie that in kind of with what's going on in Baltimore right now. I mean, that's what I hate about all this kind of stuff is that like you're putting people in tight spots.
You're forcing people to make a decision that they don't want to have to make.
Yeah, well, is the QB coach now has to be medical director. You know, I mean, so
listen, a lot of guys are wearing a lot of different hats this year, and like I said, to tie in the situation going on in Baltimore right now, all of that those issues that have arisen. Have Lamar Jackson tested positive. I think they had 18 guys test positive. I think it was yesterday when I read it. It was there was 8 straight days where somebody had tested positive, and that all stems from a strength and conditioning coach not wearing his mask.
Is that oh really? Okay.
That's how that whole thing started. So I think if there's one underlying thing to all of these issues itself is wear your damn mask.
So and you know, people on both sides, people are going to argue for the mask, against the mask, but you have to follow the rules of your employer. I think that's the biggest thing. So let me see here. Let me see if I can. I'm trying to find this.
If you want to continue to cash your check, aren't you going to do what your boss tells you?
It doesn't make sense to me. And if you want to be around, you know, Ravens. Wow, up to 23 players on a. I knew about Lamar Jackson. So my question is then this, like, what? So, and this stemmed originally from
a strength coach who obviously came into, you know, contact with those players, and then it's just gone out of, like, you know, just kept going, and it's just going.
Now they're wearing masks, right?
Now they are, but still now you once you have somebody test positive, now it's different whether you're contact tracing and you're just saying, look, you might have it, you might not. Now if you're actually testing people positive,
so it's a mix of okay. So it's a mix of 3 more tested positive Sunday: Willie Snead, Mark Andrews, Matthew.
And look, the game was supposed to originally be Thursday night, prime time on Thanksgiving. Like, you're not moving, and it was the best game of the day. Steelers Ravens. We're talking, you know, what is that? That's AFC. What is that? AFC North. We're talking, like, you know, that's a physical conference. That's a good game for Thanksgiving compared to the other, you know, 4 cupcake teams that were playing earlier in the day. You know, instead I got to sit here and watch the freaking Lions play the Texans after, you know, they're firing Matt Patricia, who's a freaking rocket scientist. You know, like that gets weird. You know,
what was I going to say? That's what makes this whole thing, I think, really difficult. Is that you're trying to figure it out amidst of not exactly knowing.
It's unprecedented.
You try to figure it out.
You're trying to figure stuff out based on going off of not having anything to go off of. Right? Like, there's no look. If I'm trying to learn how to do something, I can go read a book or research.
You need a manual, right? You need a manual on this.
You're right. Like, this is like, you know, back in the 90s, we're trying to land somebody on the moon here. Like, nobody's ever been to the moon. How the hell do we do it?
That's right. That's great point. Okay, I want to talk about one other local story, which I thought, and I want to get your opinion on it. Rutgers.
Yeah.
I guess you would say it's a mild upset right over Purdue. And
I was shocked at the amount of time I think that's the only third time they ever played each other.
What's that?
I think that's only the third time that they've ever played each other.
You watched the full game, right?
Yeah, I was locked and sealed, glued to it.
I watched, I think, from the end of the second quarter on, because they were behind at halftime. And you know what I thought was really interesting? So obviously their quarterback can play something from practice from something, I think, a Vidral, right? Noah Vidral, that's the starting quarterback normally.
Something must happen.
Something during a week happened.
Sikowski started.
Sikowski and Langdon, they kind of mixed the passer runner.
And now Langdon's obviously been there Wildcat.
He's the goal line guy. Yeah.
Bergen Catholic, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. Absolutely. I think a family of athletes too. I think their sister's like his sister's like a championship pole vaulter or something.
Well, look, he's a monster to begin with.
Yeah.
And Guy can obviously attest for this because Guy coached him when he was at Bergen.
Oh yeah. He's there's no doubt about it. He's he played great in that game. What I thought was interesting is this. So did you watch the Michigan game?
I did, unfortunately.
And then what was it? I watched them.
In Penn State, correct?
No, I watched Michigan. I'm saying Michigan.
Oh, you watched Michigan Rutgers? Yes,
yeah.
Rutgers. Yes, I watched that game.
And then I watched them play that, and I watched them play Rutgers play them, and I watched their Ohio State game. I think who else did they? I didn't see the Illinois game, which was like a lot. They lost because I thought they would beat them, but
right, that was the game that everybody thought they would win.
What I thought was, and then I watched their win before that, which was
Michigan State.
Michigan State. So here's why I thought.
It turns out to not be as bad as I guess everybody's thinking as you go along here.
Well, I like the offensive creativity. So what I like, and we talk about this all the time with trick plays and all. You got to make trick plays. It's got to be something that's part of your offense, right? And that's everybody just knows this is part of your offense,
right? Not
as a kind of anomaly, which a lot of coaches run. But as a
right, you have to do it as part of your
package.
Throwing stuff out there, going crazy.
That's a package, right? So, so what's really cool about it is they utilize those things to be successful against Ohio State and get a boost from an energy standpoint. And I think it made them play overall like really good. And then I think what was really cool was like Michigan. I mean, that was back. They were up big. Michigan switched quarterbacks, got back in the game. The way that they just, first of all, their fire and their enthusiasm playing is awesome. It's like Schiano, the number one thing I think he's brought.
Culture.
Yeah, the culture. Like that's their people playing hard, how hard they're playing. You know that eventually good things are going to happen. It may take a little bit of time, but you could see that in each game. And then Purdue, you talked about that I think their best linebacker went out, and that became an opportunity to really run the ball downhill. They took advantage of it, beat Purdue.
That's really what it was.
But I love the ability. It's one of my favorite things in offense, and you coaching me, is when the OC adapted. He just adapted to whoever his quarterback was. So when Noah Vedral was a quarterback, Michigan, he was running certain packages, certain things. When Sikowski comes in, he was running certain things. When Johnny Langdon's in, he's running certain things. And it's given that extra boost because the defense is going to play better under Schiano. That's part of the whole chop and the enthusiasm, right? Defense is their first part that improves right away. And they had a kind of a pretty good defensive group to begin with that was improving. And
you look back and Chris Ash coming from a defensive background.
Right.
You could talk about Chris Ash and the situation and what he was into, but I mean, look, man. I mean, we know. Rutgers is an incredibly tough place to play, a tough place to win. We've seen that just from in our time, wherever. And for Chris Ash coming in as a defensive guy, you knew that the defense was going to be okay. But if you look at it, I believe he had like 4 offensive coordinators in 4 years. You know what I mean? So to get the thing rolling, now you bring back Schiano, you're going to have life automatically. You know what I mean? Culture itself. Then he makes a couple moves here or there, puts together a phenomenal staff, right? We can't talk about it enough how much, the way we look at every move, and you and I, and we talk about it and we say, oh, well, this is why he did this, or this is why this guy's hired, or you know what I mean? He's got Augie Hoffman from St. Joseph Montvale, puts him on staff right away. He's got Nunzio Campanelle from Bergen, puts him on staff. So you're talking about 2 guys that are linked into the state high school stuff right away and puts them on staff. He goes and takes a guy like Fran Brown, who's known as a very, a big time recruiter in South Jersey. So he can handle that South Jersey aspect, that PA aspect of it. He goes out and he gets Gleason as his offensive coordinator, an up and coming younger guy who got his start at Princeton, goes 1 year to the Big 12 and comes in here now. And now you're starting to add a little excitement to the offense, which, you can look back to Rutgers and Schiano during the first run and look, they were, a ground and pound team. We're talking Ray Rice. We're talking, Leonard, right? We're talking run the ball first, and then throw off of it. You know what I'm saying? So now you come into it and you're adding a little bit of excitement with these other guys in Gleason's offense. Yep. And I think it just changes a lot of things. And like you said, the idea that, he knows he has a quarterback in Langdon, but maybe not a quarterback for his offense, right? So what does he do? So he takes it and he says, look, all right, here's your package. This is what we're going to do. And you know what? We're going to do it consistently. So now you get into a game like the other day with Purdue, and all of a sudden that package, that Wildcat package, is more effective than when Satowski's in here. All right, well, let's do it. And it turns out to them running, QB power 20 times in the second half, man. I mean, really, look, how many times do I say, it's like sometimes we as coaches outcoach ourselves. Like sometimes it's literally just like, let's just line up and go and do. You don't have to change anything, man. If it's working and you're getting 3-4 yards a pop running QB power, why am I going to change it? So I think that's something that, but obviously at the end of the day, it comes back to culture and to mindset. And you're looking at a team. I believe they have, last year, I think when I was watching the game, they had a stat, and it was Rutgers had caused, I think they have 10 turnovers. They've caused 10 turnovers or something this season so far. Last year they had 2, I think, the whole season, something like that.
Really?
Yeah, you're just looking at little statistics like that. Explosive plays.
Well, look at Cruzshank, right? Cruzshank on the kick return.
Just doing
the transfers he got with him, like Cruzshank as a transfer, and some of the other guys that they got, obviously Vidral, the quarterback. But the guys they got as transfers in itself.
He just drilled another huge transfer today. A kid, listen, that guy that returned the kick return for a touchdown, the last time he did that was last year's Rose Bowl.
At Wisconsin. He was at Wisconsin.
The guy they got today, they said might be the second best returner behind him from Kansas State. Kids transferred. So now he's starting to bring in some of these guys. And look, I'm partial because, we're from here, and we've always said if we could get everybody to stay home at Rutgers, it would be a scary thing to see. But if you're not a big-time recruit in New Jersey, how is that not on your radar? To stay home, to play for a Jersey guy in front of mom and dad, who are going to be at every game in the Big Ten. It's not the Big East, it's the Big Ten. So you're going to play your Ohio State. You're going to get, so you basically, you're going to get a shot at one of the best teams in the country every single year, and then it's just a matter of, are you going to see Wisconsin? Are you going to see Penn State? Are you going to see, it depends on which one of those other Big Ten teams are going to be up there that year. Iowa. I mean, look at these teams that they're dialing up against, and now I'm going to go play for a guy in Coach Schiano who's been at the highest of highs as far as you're talking NFL head coach, right? I mean, college highest of highs, Ohio State defensive coordinator, even when nobody knew where the hell he was. He was, he's the defense coordinator at Ohio State. Most people don't know that stuff. So if he really wants to ride this thing out and go with it for the next couple of years, it could be a pretty fun and interesting thing to watch him turn this thing around, not, for the second time.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's at this point is basically to me almost inevitable that it's going to be turned around. It's just a matter of
he hasn't even had a full, you know what I mean? And these are not normal times. He's not doing in-home visits. They're not bringing guys on campus. It's just craziness. And
it's tough. It's really good. It's really good. I mean, and sustainability is the key, and get the jump start.
Think about it. So he took over. We'd have to do some fact checking stuff, right? So when he took over in what year at Rutgers originally? 99, 2000, 2001, somewhere around there, right?
I'll find it for you right now. Let me see.
How many years until he got to, because obviously. So when everybody remembers 2006 Louisville, right?
Let's look at it. Yeah, let's look at it here. All right. Geez, now I know I'm getting a little bit old because when I pop this on the screen.
Yeah, well, the fact that he recruited me when I was in high school is.
Yeah, we pop this on the screen here. It's going to be.
I want to say it was 99.
What's your guess?
What year?
I have it up. What's your guess? What year he got there?
I say 99.
It's 2001.
Holy shit.
Let's see. 2001. So
the 2001 season was his first season.
2001. Wikipedia wants me to donate $275. I'll have to wait till next time to do that.
Sorry.
Let's see. He was, yeah.
So 2001.
He was 2-9.
That's 19 years ago.
19 years ago. That was his first year, and it took him. So
yeah, like when did
remember those first couple of years were rough. Like it wasn't
brutal.
Like,
I remember him going out to Notre Dame getting smoked.
So he's way ahead of that curve this time, regardless of rec. I think rec. This is one of those games get in the way as far as wins and losses.
Well, remember that the 2000 game against Louisville on Thursday night when everybody rushed the field, and that was like the 2006. That was 2006, correct?
They were 11-2, and then he sustained that all the way through. He had one. Well,
what was his record his first year?
2-9.
Yeah, because that's a little tiny for me. So it was 2-9, and then what was he in 02?
111, 5-7, 111, 5-7, 4-7, 7-5, 11-2, 8-5, 8-5, 9-4, 4-8, 9-4.
Yeah, but this is what's different. It's like, look, it's about bowl appearances, correct? Like in that.
And then 1, 2, 3. He had 5 straight bowl appearances, 4 and then the one year they had a little down year in 2010, but then 2011.
And that's when he left.
It was after he left, and
because Flood took over in what 2011,
2012 season. So he won 5 out of 6. With Schiano won 5 out of 6 bowls, and then he was in Tampa for a couple of years, and then I think Ohio State and all that stuff. But yeah. So I mean, you're talking nights. He had to be in his 30s. How old was he when he started?
40.
Well, he was 19 years ago. He took over there. 35 he was when he first got the job.
Yep.
And
I'm screwed because I'm 34. So.
Hey man, you're so good. You're so good in front of the camera. Maybe not. Yeah, this is your interview.
My calling.
I'd like you to get a little lighting because now as it's getting dark out, it's kind of getting hard to see.
Right? It's crazy. And that's, you know what I mean? Like those teams too, like you look at Schiano because they were in the Big East back then. Who were they competing with? Miami?
Yeah. Well, Big East got good. It wasn't that good to start out with, but they had Miami and they had Virginia Tech, I guess.
Virginia Tech, Syracuse.
Syracuse was pretty good.
Boston College.
Boston College has been good. Yep.
I mean, then they started adding teams like UConn and stuff, and then it just went down. I gotta take my Husky shot.
We chose not to even play this season.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Hey, it's all right. My alma mater too, but they are playing in spring. So
Montclair's playing in spring.
Yeah.
Are all D3s playing in the spring?
No, it's a league thing. So the NJAC is going to play, and I believe, like, because the NJAC is kind of has like kind of like these Jersey teams, and then a lot of the teams from like like Wesley and Christopher Newport and those types of teams. So I believe those ones that are further south are Christopher Newport. Yes, it's a college, and they're pretty damn good.
Are they good? Where are they? Where's that?
They're D3. Christopher Newport, I believe, is it Virginia?
Christopher Newport. No. News, Virginia.
Is it? Yeah, I think it is.
Wow, expensive school.
Of course. Wesley's not.
Wait, they're in the NJAC?
I believe so. Yeah, check the NJAC is now.
I got to fact check you on that one.
When I was in it,
they were in the Division III USA South Athletic Conference. What is that?
That's not check the NJAC then, because the NJAC is Wesley's in there. Frostburg, that's the state. That's the one I'm talking about.
Frostburg. Yeah. Frostburg.
Those guys are all playing, like the ones that are in the South are going to play, and then they're going to play 4 games up here. So I would believe it would be like, say, like, so Montclair is probably going to go out and play.
All right. Here's your test. You ready? We're going to play a little quick game.
Oh, here we go. Stump, no longer, it's not Stump Rothenberg on ESPN Radio. It's Stump Coach D.
All right. The logos are up top. Let's see if you can name every team that it is. I think you're right, by the way, about what you just said, because they must have just got into it. So Christopher Newport must be in the NJAC. But all right, I'm gonna put it up there. I don't know how you'd even know. I don't even know how you would know that other than.
Oh, okay. So across the top.
Sorry, can you name? Is it too small for you? Hold on.
It is. But let me see the best I can. I can't really.
So I guess the left is Christopher Newport, right?
Right. So then you got Keene. Montclair State, Rowan, Salisbury.
That's Salisbury? Okay.
Salisbury, TCNJ, Wesley, William Patterson. Come on, man.
That's what Wesley's in the NJAC now?
Yes, brother. So Coach Boberts got some.
Coach Boberts, shout out. Coach Boberts.
That's it.
Yeah, man.
So those teams, so like Christopher Newport and Salisbury and Wesley, those teams used to be, when I played there, it was Western Connecticut. It was Cortland.
What happened to Western Con?
They must have, gone to another something.
Because I thought Cortland was in it.
Yes, they used to be. And for a couple years, Buffalo State was in it.
It must be Empire Conference or something?
Yeah, SUNY Mooresville, SUNY Brockport. So what they did was rather than have NJAC teams go north, now NJAC teams just go south.
Empire 8, is that it? Maybe?
Yeah. Well, the Empire 8 used to be like Springfield College.
The Empire 8,
like Hobart.
Whoever the Saxons are. Hartwick,
always a good one too. Now, Morrisville.
What is Morrisville?
SUNY Mooresville.
SUNY Moore. I don't even know.
It's been as in State University of New York.
They must not have football.
What about Brockport?
That's Brockport.
So there's 2 SUNY schools.
That's SUNY. That's St. John Fisher.
St. John Fisher. Yeah, those guys were all in a conference together.
Utica, and then who's the?
Don't you have a quarterback?
Brockport. What? No, Springfield.
Well, I'm saying like those schools. So the winner of the Empire 8 and then the winner of the NJAC usually would square off in that first round of the Division III playoffs when I was there.
Okay.
But I look at our out of conference schedule when I was there.
Light.
And we're going to need some light.
Woo!
Dark. Like our out of conference schedule, my senior year, we played at Wilkes, then Springfield came to us, and then we went to Wesley. So we started off the year with 3 road games, or 3 out of conference games, and those teams were all ranked in the top 25. Now, 2 years after I left in 2009, Montclair lost week 1 and then ran the entire table and ended up losing to Mount Union in the quarterfinals or semifinals of the Division III playoffs. But so we're talking about, just bringing it back. You want to talk about talent across New Jersey. Not only is Rutgers, we're talking about Rutgers being the scholarship Division I school, but you're also looking at a bunch of Division III schools in this state that could reap the rewards of them being good. Because, you look at it, you got Rutgers as your big time Division I. You have Monmouth, who's in our backyard, who's an FCS school, right? And then other than that, it's all Division IIIs. And then now a JUCO. So you're talking, you got Keene, you got Montclair, TCNJ, William Patterson.
No doubt.
And then you have Sussex County Community, who just started a JUCO program.
That's great.
I think will be interesting, because are you going to compete with, I don't know if they're going to compete with, Lackawanna or any of those, because JUCO is not really a thing here in the Northeast. A lot of our guys either prep school or go somewhere else. Like I said, because we have Division IIIs, you look at Florida, they have 5 Division I schools, but they don't have any, there's no D3s in Florida.
Coach, do we have any athletes like this?
I know. I saw this. Your Bobcat. I love this. Is that a Florida Bobcat? Woo! That's ridiculous.
That's pretty sick.
It's actually scary.
I just want to see it one more time.
Are you trying to say, do you have any of those in your backyard?
Oh, you got someone like that, boy, you win a lot of games.
Do you think Wall has anybody like that?
I don't know. I don't know if they can jump like that. I don't think anybody has anyone that can jump like that.
I think the one person that made somebody said something, and I think it was great. And you said it, you hit on it too, and I want to come back to it because I think it's big time. Can anybody beat anybody on any given day? Absolutely. But would Wall have the ability to play in that conference and fight every week like those guys do?
No. I mean, that's just not.
Would an RBC, would a Donovan, would a Vianney, could those guys go up there and do that week in, week out? I mean, why is it so often that we see RBC or, we see the parochials down here run tables and do so well until they get to the playoffs?
Can anyone have a team in a year that can do that? As far as, what
it's sustained.
Like sustainability. So
and they do it every single year.
Not until we get it. Yeah.
I do like the fact that this year you really saw teams that were – some teams say we'll play anybody, anytime, anywhere, but you saw that this year.
Yeah, that made it cool.
Ramapo High School.
That's why I think you should also have – you know what? I just thought of this. Now, we ended up playing Hackensack anyway, but we were supposed to play in first game.
That should be your
everybody should have one game. Like
somebody posed that first weekend should be take a North Jersey Power, take a South Jersey Power,
or whoever you want. Like like the West Jersey League and Shore Conference. I don't know, North Jersey teams from different conferences, of North Jersey and the South Jersey. Like just get a whole bunch. That first week 0 be a bunch of exciting matchups. Or week 0, maybe
give me a Ramapo Wall.
Oh, that would be great. RBR.
Give me an RBC Pope John like they did scrimmage this year.
I think they did scrimmage, right?
Yeah. Give me a Seton Hall prep modern day.
I just think that would be really cool because it would start the year off right away with a whole bunch of matchups that would never normally happen. And
I look at it look, kudos this year, Ocean City. Hey, DePaul, you got an open date. Why don't you come down and play us?
That was cool.
Let's go. Cool. Hey,
with
Cherokee. Hey, St. Joe's. You want to come down and play? Yeah, let's do it. Dial it up. Let's go. Or even who was the school that went up to Ramapo and beat them?
Oh, Group 1.
Yeah, Group 1 powerhouse. Who are they?
I wonder if someone could tell.
Oh, yes, because that's your favorite mascot.
My favorite mascot. Maybe, outside of ours, our favorite mascot. I don't know if I say it right, if it's the Chimeras or the Chimeras.
Right. It's like me being a Coastal Carolina fan for the Chanticleers.
That's right. That's exactly right. And then who I don't know if anybody knows, but the most famous person, he didn't play football though, as far as I know, to come out of that high school. Do you know that?
Wow.
Do you know who the most famous person is to come out of that high school?
What, the one we can't pronounce?
Well, no, we can't pronounce. Yeah, the mascot.
And they're a Group 1, right?
Carl Lewis, man. Carl Lewis.
Oh, that's right. You said that. That's your track coach. Now you're showing your true colors with your track.
That's my track side there.
Speaking of other sports, we did see the governor post this morning for everybody that didn't know. Now that we're winter sports are pushed back even more so. Now, the only winter sport that was really starting, before this is said to be whatever was obviously the hockey, but everything is now pushed back till January 2nd, which I think is kind of a good move. Once again, I feel for these kids doing indoor sports, but at the same time, man, like we got to hopefully get a hold of this whole thing and control it as much as we can and then kind of go from there because, I mean, other than that, winter sports are just going to be, oh boy. Like I said, like football was one beast in itself. I would not want to be a wrestling coach or a basketball coach going into this winter. For the most part, last year, you kind of had your entire winter season, it might not have ended a certain way. I mean, I believe we went into quarantine a week after the state wrestling stuff went down at Atlantic City, So, and even us just looking at going forward, looking at, what are we going to do off season wise as far as, working out and things like that for our guys, I think that's going to be a whole different beast of something that we have to conquer and who knows what's going to come of it,
What was I going to say? Just looking at the chat here, Chris Latrella, who is the head of video for Northern Highlands, who is with Partridge back with PC and obviously
living.
Yep, now over at Northern Highlands, helping out Coach Russo.
Coach Russo got a hell of a thing going right now, man.
Yeah, I tell you, so that was interesting what we learned, right? When we play hack and sack, we didn't know how our publics would compare,
Correct.
And we played really well against Hackensack and
who played really well against four.
We realized that league is like compared
four programs that we respect,
Right. So
not that we don't respect others, but like at this, like we know that these programs that Hackensack played were good.
Right. So yeah, exactly. So the the Old Japan,
it was Old Japan. What was it? It was Old Japan, Highlands,
Ridgewood,
Wayne Valley.
Right. So those leagues are probably comparable to our league,
Look, I'll take a lot of these four teams and put them up against a lot of senior, against a lot of super Essex.
That'd be cool crossovers. Those.
Think about some of those matchups.
Right. Like the leagues that we're in. I think the group.
Well, like I said, I mean, you could go down. Like I told you, I went through it today and just
Riverdale, right? Hills. Chris is updating me. Yeah, and our conference, with the group 3.
Right, and you put those guys against put them against a Raritan,
Homedale,
Purple School up the street,
Ocean.
How about even a Southern?
Southern. What are they? 4? They might be. Are they?
I'd love to see, ultimate.
What are they? 5 or 4?
Southern is, I believe, a 4. I'd love to see Southern Phillipsburg.
Phillipsburg's a whole different.
Yeah, and they didn't even get to play their game against Easton this year, man. That's a shame.
Yeah, that is a shame. There's such a shame.
Now, does our rivalry?
We got our Thanksgiving partner there.
So it was what, 98 years?
This year we had it broken. So sad.
Shame. So what is it? So does that still count as a year?
I don't know.
I count
it. Southern Regional. Let me see. Southern Regional's a 5.
So play them against Phillipsburg.
They're 5.
Even you take a Lacey, throw them up north. They would compete.
Lacey, yeah. All those teams, it's all comparable, good stuff. It's good football. I think that what do you think? They do, I guess, a public ranking, I guess, in the state, because they do it by group, so they don't have to do a whole new set.
I would love to see it. You got your big 9 private schools up north, right? You got Bosco, Bergen, Joe's, Peters, Paramus Catholic, Del Barton, Pope John, DePaul, Seton Hall Prep. 9. right? Throw in St. John Vianney, Donovan, Red Bank Catholic, modern day. Rank them, playoffs, go.
Yep.
Right? Like, go. You know? And I don't like. To me, I just find it. You know, we open up against St. John Vianney week 1. That's what it was. Wall opens up against Point Borough week 1. You know, I believe so. I'm not. You know, I could go through and find schedules, but and there was a lot of back and forth about they won't even. If it's true, it's interesting because Bergen, Coach Vito up there, he went on record saying, "Look, we reached out to Holy Spirit and Wall this season, and they didn't want to play."
Yeah.
So, I get it.
You
play who's on your schedule, and that's it, right? It is what it is. You play who's on your schedule, and if you beat them all, you're that damn good, And that's what Wall did. So kudos to them. It doesn't have to be a matchup as far as who's who or, whatever that stuff is. Like, you're the best team. You got your ranking. You're good to go. Now, can you do it again next year? Or do you win a state title next year? Because I don't know, man. If they play Donovan again in that game, I don't know if they come home with it. And you watched it, and I got the play-by-play from you. So it worked. Like I said, you saw it firsthand. But look,
it was a great game.
Yeah, phenomenal. I just hope they do it. If we do have this short conference title game, which I think would be freaking awesome, and I would push to have it because I think it literally would be that awesome. I think it's something that, let's hold it at a neutral freaking site. Like Monmouth, get in on this, go play in front of, go play at, Monmouth University, let's do something like that. You want to make it full blown, all shore type stuff. Do it that way. I think that would be awesome. I think it's something they could build on going forward,
Absolutely.
I hope they do, as far as that's concerned, because I think it would be, I just think it's something that, it would be awesome. I think it's something that a lot of people in this state have been looking to for, a long time.
There's no doubt about it.
And that's always going to be your, it's going to be your, whatever, is it, publics, privates, this, that. I mean, look, we said it this year. People are like, oh, you can play with Vianney. You can play with Vianney. Yeah, I'm sure we can. But at the end of the day, man, like, we get kids from 3 towns. Vianney gets kids from how many towns? It's just something that's different.
But yeah, public and private is definitely a different thing. There's no doubt about it. And I think across the country, you go to Texas, it's flipped. Like, the public schools are way better than the private schools, and that's because the investment way Texas football is. I mean, Texas football has, a lot of it probably has to do with Texas football and the school system. So, like, Texas, for those you don't know, it's all like ISDs, which are independent school districts, and they fund, and those are regional schools, districts.
Which is how a lot of the schools, the public schools down here in South Jersey are regional schools. Like, we're Red Bank Regional, where, Red Bank, Little Silver, Shrewsbury, all 3 of those towns go to that high school, Whereas up north, you're dealing with, pretty much one town, one school.
Right. That's what's different. I mean, the top 10 in Texas.
Allen, Caddy.
Who do you think is in 6A? It's number 1 that's the biggest is Galena North Shore. Galena Park North Shore. I don't even know who they are. Then 2 is.
What are they? They have 6 divisions.
Yeah, that must be a new powerhouse.
Now, so Florida has 8.
Galena Park must be a new an up and coming. Oh, it's Houston. It must
Yeah,
be.
one of the most like densely populated. I mean, think about their
That's a new
now
powerhouse.
Florida has 8 divisions.
Number 2 is Duncanville, which is a
Yep.
monster program. Austin Westlake is 3. Allen is 4.
Allen.
Lake Travis is 5, another powerhouse. Katy Tompkins 6. Cypress Bridgeland must be down by Houston 7. 8 is Cedar Hill, which is Cedar Hill, Duncanville are in the same area.
But yeah, is that Dallas Fort Worth?
They're south of Dallas. Allen is north of Dallas. Lake Travis is Austin. Katy might be north of Houston, maybe, or Galena Park. I just looked. It was Houston. I think Cypress Bridgeland is Houston. Katy High School is 9 there. Cy Fair, which must also be Houston, and then DeSoto's 11, which is DeSoto, Duncanville, and Cedar Hill are all back to back to back.
And what's his name is went to, who was it? What's his name? Quarterback for Murray. Murray went to where?
Allen.
Right.
Murray went to Allen. Duncanville, he must be a senior. They have this great quarterback. I think he's a senior this year. Let's see. DeSoto. Who is? Yeah.
We see like that's it. So like you relate to Florida, like, and you know Texas high school football pretty well.
Pretty good.
And I think I know Florida pretty well just from being down there and having a lot of my buddy being a coach at a good program down there. And the thing down there too is they have 8 divisions.
In Florida.
Yeah. And Florida, for what's going on right now, I mean, they're still 3 weeks away from crowning a champ.
Yeah, I know.
The weekend of the 22nd. 17th is a Thursday, I think. So Thursday. Yeah, so the weekend of like Friday's the 18th, 19th, 20th, like that's going to be the Florida State Championship. And that's been just because they're going county based down there as far as who's playing and what's going on, as far as rules and who's playing when and if you're allowed to play and all that type of stuff. So, I mean, look, if we're talking top football states, if you're obviously mentioning Texas and you're mentioning, Florida,
California.
Right. I mean, I looked at the Max Preps rankings I think Bergen is our highest ranked team. And I think they're 50 something after beating Peters this weekend.
Yeah, it's Chris Latrella brought up a good question. It's true. The reason why Texas, I think, doesn't play is because they have 15-minute quarters. They cut down the field.
Well, I know. Yeah. Well, I that was the first thing I asked when I went.
You're never going to get agreement on that. Like
when I was at Bosco,
in Texas,
I went to Bosco and I said, "Look, we're going to Maryland to play. We're going to Florida to play. We're going to Utah to play. Why don't we play anybody in Texas?" And it's a rule thing. Because depending on where you play for those rules.
Exactly.
Like I said, Florida, halfway through the first quarter, you get a water break.
Right, exactly. So,
and obviously, depending on where you play, your referees come into a little bit of a play.
Anything else on your mind for today? We wrap it up until.
I think that's not a bad first. Not a bad first show. Let's hope this is the first of many. We'll get some guests on. GB obviously is going to have to be one of our first.
We're going to have to figure out how to just bring people right on and send them.
Yeah, we got somehow during this we got to make that happen in person though, because GB can cook, man.
I think his wife does. They both can cook. They're dangerous combos.
Well, let's get Mrs. GB to Jersey juice this thing up.
I love it.
All right, man.
All right. Well, it's great podcast. Great talking with you. And man, we keep doing this as many times as we can do it. You know what I mean? So
listen, it's therapy for us. That way, we're not driving each other up a wall, and then we can at least get some of these other guys on here. I mean, look at that first one. We got Coach Davis and GB. I mean, really nice hit.
Yeah, oh yeah, we had a nice little chat going. So
yeah, and we didn't even pump this thing yet. We didn't even get this thing going. We didn't even advertise.
No, there's no advertising. No advertising yet. We got word of mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and for us, that's good enough. Sometimes we don't even need that.
All right.
All right, man.
All right. Hey, listen. This is our current banner right now. That's it. Football the kitchen sink.
That's it, brother. I love it. All right, man. Plain Jane. That's all we need.
All right, brother. Have a great day, man.
All right, my guy.
All right. Bye. There.